And please give a round of applause for me. So I have to start this by saying, about 10 minutes before we were set to come on, the promoter came upstairs to the dressing room. He was like, I'm sorry, I'm spacing out today. Brian, promoter was like, oh, hey, how are you? And then just launched into several minutes of apologizing. Yeah, it's a little low attendance tonight. I was like, oh, it's fine, I don't care. I'll, it is what it is. I'll go out, it's not going to affect the show. Yeah, just, everybody, we put the word out there that you were in town, and just fine. It's okay, yeah, and then, I don't know, it's, sometimes there's a full house, and sometimes there's not. Yeah, it's okay. And then he said, and you had a good team behind you, and everyone tried really hard. I'm not angry. It's fine. We're gonna have. I'm not one of those assholes who comes out and berates the crowd for not being here, even though you're the people. But seriously, what the fuck? Sold out Vicar Street Theater last Tuesday. Right. Also, I forget. We just started this leg of the tour here in Europe, Ireland, UK, and I forget until I come here the mystery of the half shower door, which I never understood, because then there's instructions in your hotel to put a towel, here, you have to do, and it's not like a bath mat that absorbs the drips and the whatever water remains on your feet. It's stopping a flood. You have to put those little towels there, and then they're soaking wet, and I just don't understand the logic. I don't know what to do, really. I don't know, there's nothing else to do except put a bunch of towels down. It's a mystery, and I don't know. Maybe somebody will invent something. And then I think, when y'all go to the States and take a shower, is it a scary experience? Don't take a shower. I don't know if you've ever been to the do not take a shower. They try to trap you in the shower. So I want to quote something from every once in a while. Do a lot of press for these shows, and then a whole bunch of things. They all kind of run together, and one of the articles popped up in my email inbox, and I was like, all right, I'll open this one. And it was an interview I did for an Irish paper. I don't remember which one, but I know the woman's name was Emma Bowman. And she wrote in the top, and I quote, that Cross has played a range of timid, put-upon characters, in consequence, perhaps, of his unique nasally voice. Why is that in there? What? And why don't you just say Jew? Just say it. Cross sounds like a Jew. Okay, I've got a whole fun show that started off, right? That's just I'm just saying hi. I just want to okay. So, are there people way up there? Yeah, you could probably. Unless everybody gives a shit, you probably come down a little. Okay, here we go. Eeny, meeny, Cicilline. Eeny, meeny, Cicilline. Ooh-wah, tamborini. Ouchie-watchie, Liberace, I hate you. Give me a peach, give me a plum, give me a stick of bubble gum. No peach, no plum, no stick of bubble gum. I saw you with your boyfriend last night. How do you know? Peeking through the window, nosy. Didn't take a shower, smelly. Jumped out the window. Now you're talking crazy. That's what they call me. Eeny, meeny, Cicilline. Ooh-wah, tamborini. Ouchie-watchie, Liberace, I hate you. I have a 6.5-year-old daughter. I've never heard that until recently. It's not in a musical that she watches over and over again. I've never seen the words written down. I've heard it on the radio. I just heard it 106 times. I go to sleep, singing it, and I wake up and sing. And that's just my way of saying I have a 6.5-year-old daughter. It's new. It's new. This is a new thing. It's my only child, and you know, I'm this is my first, and I'm an old dad, you know, and I would say older, but that seems to be sugarcoating the reality. I'm older than me, and it's been interesting. And she's 6 years old, but let me tell you something. That kid. There's nothing special about her, is what I mean. She's special to me, of course she's special to me, but I'm saying she hasn't like demonstrated any like advanced artistic abilities or anything like that. I saw her and said, how old is she? And I said, oh, she's 6. You go, sounds about right. Unlike the multitude of parents who fucking talk about their kids like they're Stephen Hawking mixed with Frida Kahlo mixed with Marie Curie, whatever. But they're 6 and they aren't. They're not smart and they're not funny. Okay? And I'm picturing specific kids that are friends with me. When I say this joke, I know exactly who I'm talking about. I'm trying to tell you who they are because the parents are famous, but let me tell you something. What's special about these fucking kids? And, you know, I've learned a lot from being a dad, and there truly are so many awful things about having a child. One of the worst is that I now have to engage in small talk and chit-chat that I would never fucking engage in before I had a kid, right? And so, like, before I had a kid, and I would be hanging out at the playground. Before I had a kid, and I'd be in a park or wherever, and somebody would come up to me and just open up a conversation, you know, just referencing the kids, going like, oh man, boy, they're a handful, huh? Like before I had a kid, my response would be, what the fuck? And I'd be correct to do so. That'd be the proper way to do it. I can't do that anymore because that is a potential play date, and you have to have as many play dates in your back pocket as possible because it is inevitable that at some point my wife is going to be out of town, and I will wake up, not even hungover, but you know, drunk, still like clean up. I'm have to put the kids somewhere for an hour, you know, just to take a shit, you know, like one of those guys. Now I have to talk to that guy, and also I live in Brooklyn, New York, and it's just young hipster parent central. There's thousands and thousands, my neighborhood, all these hipster parents and all. I didn't like them when I was that age, and I was hanging with them. I really don't like them now. And so I'll be Yeah, I'll be at the playground with my daughter, and this guy will roll up, and just this outfit that's, like he has one of those orange woolly cap longshoreman tube things, but they roll it all the way up. You know what I mean? Like they roll it all the way up. So it's just here. It's not doing the thing a fucking hat is meant to do. Using it properly, and also your balls. So it's just like a pasty for your head. It's just sitting there. They have like that hat, and then one of these like 23 skidoo mustaches. And you can see like a full sleeve of like retro toasters or something. And he's got culottes and a skirt and a big whetstone, right? Dangling off of the leather strap, like a glistening, oily whetstone. When? How? Why? Oh, the whetstone. Oh, yes. No, I just got back from crafting. Yeah, me and the gang get together and we do some crafting. And my specialties, I make artisanal, bespoke, handcrafted, farm-to-table marbles. And the gang and I will get together and play these games of our youth. And because I feel like we've gotten so cynical and jaded in these last few years, what with COVID and he who shall not be named. And we just lost the joy that we used to have. We're trying to reconnect with the innocence and the joy that we had as children. So we play the games, not that we played, but the games that our fathers' fathers' fathers played. That's not their time. Marbles and bumbly peg and jackets. And I'm working on an ethically sourced paddleball. Anyways, that asshole come up to me. I'll be in the playground with my daughter, and he'll come up to me and he'll be like, "Oh man, boy, they're a handful, huh?" Yeah. Indeed. Which one's yours? The blonde girl there on the monkey bars. Yeah. Oh, fantastic! She's playing with mine. That's my boy there. That's Copernicus. That kid is something. Let me tell you something. I'll tell you what, man. That kid is 6 going on 30. You know what I mean? No. How? And what was he? Had heart disease? Another thing I've learned from having a kid is that you really are forced to confront your bad habits, your bad traits, and to do something about them, to be proactive and stop being like that, because you don't want to put that on your kid, and it's not like, before you get married and you're like, I'm going to change, I'm going to be more attentive, and I'm going to listen better, and I'm not going to interrupt, and then you get married and you're like, fuck that. Married. And you really have to be proactive and conscious about doing that. And one of my worst habits, it's terrible. I have a lot of bad things about me. But one of my worst habits is I'm extremely judgmental. And I have been since I was young. And I've always justified it, by going, well, I'm right. I'm just terrible. The stuff I think, and it's just diseased. And like at the airport, you get what happens in here at the airport is just nonstop. Who the fuck's this bitch thing? Lots of fucking clothes. Lots of different clothes. That's not a service animal. It's not a service animal. It's your fucking pet. It's not a service animal. And just to give you an example of what a piece of shit I am, this is 100% true. This is what my thought process was. One day I was walking down in Brooklyn. I was going to do a set to get ready for the tour, and I passed by at the outside dining, and there was an older couple, and the gentleman had gotten up and extended his hand to his partner to help her up from the table. And it had, sorry, I burped there. It was good. And it had just started to rain, and he took out an umbrella, opened it, put it over her. Didn't take half of it, just gave it to her, to keep her dry. And they're just beaming at each other. The biggest smiles you've ever seen. And I saw this, and I walked by. It's true. And in my head, I went like this. Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice that they found each other. And then I thought, found each other? Why did I add that to it? You know? And then I answered myself immediately. Oh, it's because they're both ugly. I'm looking at pure love. Pure love! And my fucking little take on it is like, oh, good for you, you ugly fucks. That's you guys are struggling. I mean, if you hadn't, you probably would have got along, you know. Cat and even chorus before the soup was called. Yeah. If you had passed me by in the street at that moment, this is what you would have seen. You would have seen this. I do want to say that they really were ugly. It was remarkable. I mean, it stayed with me. It was upsetting. So, last year, for her birthday, I took my current wife. That's my current wife. It sounds like a diss, but it's not. It's just factually what happens in the future, regardless of it. She's my current. I think y'all should start doing that. In your own. Y'all know my current husband, Jared, yes. Most I work with. Because it's fucking true, Tanya. So I took my wife to Bologna, Italy, for her birthday last year, and it was great. Has anybody been? Woo! Good for you. Well, I asked that in Belfast. No. Provincial motherfucker. No, it was great. I loved it. We really enjoyed it, and we only went for 5 days, which I know coming from the States, it's a very short time for a vacation. But I felt I was adamant about this, and I know everybody has their own opinion. I know that now. I felt very strongly that 5 days is really the maximum amount of time that you want to leave a 5-year-old at home by themselves. I think that's shitty parenting. That's irresponsible. So we went, and it was great. I do recommend it. It was very nice people. The food is amazing, and you know it's relatively small. It's you can really get a sense. You can walk it in 3 days or so. It's really nice. And one thing I noticed around day 3 was that there are more churches per capita in Bologna than any other place by far I've ever been to. And I've traveled fairly extensively, and the weird thing is you see, there's just, so you have these like 12th century long wide, really long cobblestone streets, and you walk along, right? You know, and it's like there's a church, and there's a church, and there's a gelato store, and there's a church, and there's a church, and you take a left and right, and then there's a Vespa store, and a church, and a church, and a Gucci store, and another, go down an alley, and then it opens to another church, and then you go under this little bridge, and then it opens up to another church, there's a church next to it, and you go to the piazza, and there's the Grand Basilica, and it's surrounded by other churches. But that's not the weird thing. The weird part is that they're all the same church. The same fucking exact same things happening in all of them. There's no synagogues or mosques or Mormon tabernacles or Baptist schoolhouses or Episcopalians or Presbyterians or Lutherans or Methodists or Calvinists or Seventh-day Adventists or Jehovah's Witnesses. It's all the same church. The same thing is happening in each one. It's all the same dead kid and the same whiskey smoking words that, you know, got guys in hoodies that are why? You know, like, were people just really lazy back then? I mean, I want to go to church, but it's all the way over there. And here's something I learned. I did not know until I was in Italy. But in Italy, the church pays taxes. How about that? Yeah. They, like a business, they pay taxes, and then it goes into the government coffers. It helps the social safety net, medical care for people who need it, housing, you know, and just a reminder that in most of the world, the church doesn't pay taxes. And the reason, ready for this? The reason they don't pay taxes is because they don't have to. Yeah. And in the States, there are two reasons the church, religious institutions don't pay taxes. One is this idea of the separation of church and state. Very important to the Founding Fathers. So important, it's literally the first thing mentioned in the Bill of Rights. The idea that the government can't dictate to the church what it can and cannot say, and in turn, the church cannot advocate for a candidate or a party from the pulpit. Come on, man, there's no separation of church and state. I mean, before the ink was dry, before Thomas Jefferson got home to fuck his slaves, that or separation. It's not even a Venn diagram, it's just two circles on top of each other. And the other reason stated, the reason the church doesn't pay taxes in Ireland, is because the church is a not-for-profit organization. That is the reason stated. The church is a non-profit. The Catholic Church, beyond all their churches, own over 5,000 buildings, like office towers, all around the world. They own over 1 billion shares of General Motors, General Electric, Gulf Oil, Shell Oil, Bethlehem Steel. That's why they went for Bethlehem Steel. And the Catholic Church, true, actually owns an observatory. They own the largest observatory in Arizona, the state of Arizona, called the Mount Graham Observatory. The Catholic Church owns an observatory? So, suck on that, Galileo. It must have been a clerical error. Just write that, please write that down. Try to squeeze that into the set I already taped. All right. Yeah, the Catholic Church. I mean, there's only one explanation possible for why the church owns an observatory, and that is because they are on the lookout 24/7 for the second coming of Jesus. Only explanation, just constantly. Is there any sighting of them? No, sir. I've been looking, man. Well, keep looking. Just spin it. We paid for the one that's spinning, so spin it around. Sir, I'm trying, man. Journal entry 22,411. Still, no sign of Jesus Christ. Lost? Question mark? Then, one very special, magical night. Erky. Oh my goodness, boss, come quick. What is it? It's him. He's coming back for us. It's him. Oh, wait, hang on. False alarm. It's just Muhammad on a winged horse. Shoot him down! Shoot him down! Fire up the Jewish space lasers. Come on. And I think if the church and religious institutions aren't going to have to pay taxes, then I think they should become homeless shelters. I think at the very least we could ask them to do. And I don't mean turned into homeless shelters. I mean simultaneously be a homeless shelter. Right? So that while the priest or the pastor is giving his sermon, quoting Jesus, talking about the Prince of Peace, saying these words of charity and kindness and love and forgiveness and tolerance. Like, while they're doing that, there'd be like a soup kitchen, right? There's a pews are here, and then the soup kitchen's over here, and then people are getting something to eat, maybe some medical attention, some clothing, some diapers for the kids, maybe just, a shower, just some basic human dignity, right? So while the pastor's up there going, and in Matthew 11:28, Jesus says, "Bring to me all ye who are weary and burdened, to take my yoke upon you, so that you may find ease for your suffering souls." And Jesus is telling us to help those less fortunate. Let me take on your burden. I have a good thing, let me help you. Yet praise Jesus. Praise Jesus, right? And in Matthew 25:35, Jesus says, "For I was starving, and you gave me food. For I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. For I was a stranger, and you let me in." Yet praise Jesus. Yeah, amen. So that while they're saying these words, these beautiful ideas, they can look over and be like, "What? Oh, wait a minute. This is what you've been talking about the whole time? Oh my goodness. Mush brain. I've been coming here since I was a kid, and I never made the connection. Oh, okay, I get it now. Thank you for the visual aid, Because there's no hypocrite on earth quite like the American Christian. It's the height. The American Christian's the height of hypocrisy. I bet you have some in Ireland. Go to church every Sunday. They're holy, they're righteous, they're pious. They know the difference between good and bad, immoral, moral, good and evil. Right? No greater. They know, black and white. They know. And they say these words every Sunday. Right? Words of charity, love. And yet this transformation happens once they cross the threshold of the church back to the outside. That something happens, this transformation it's magical. Being there, we need to treat others the way we should want to be treated ourselves, with kindness and forgiveness. And, oh my God, there's a Mexican rapist. Oh, there's a Mexican rapist. Tucker, give me your phone. Give me your phone. There's a Mexican rapist out here. Okay, hang on. Yes, police. Yes, I want to report a Mexican rapist. Yes, I'm outside the Church of Selfless Benevolence, and there's a Mexican rapist here. I don't know. She's probably 9 or 10. I don't know. She's pointing to her belly and crying. Please send one of your tanks. But I think if we went to the church and said, hey, because of all the things that we've been talking about that are in no way applicable to you at all, we're thinking maybe you could, like any other business, contribute, pay taxes, pay your fair share of taxes. I think the church would say no. And then I'd say, okay, well, why not? I don't understand. Well, because we need that money. That's why. We're just, we would crumble. If we had to pay taxes, then we would just, we wouldn't exist as an institution. I mean, look, we're barely getting by here. And we're just a little, mom and pop. Holy Ghost. We're a mom and pop little startup. And, we can't, we just crumble. You're like, well, why do you need that extra money? Is it for more jewel-encrusted golden cups? We got plenty of those. I think we have all of them. Do we have all the jewel-encrusted golden cups? Yeah, we've got all the jewel-encrusted golden cups. So we're good on that. But no, don't take those. No, those have to stay here. We need them to give the place a little zhuzh. Well, I don't understand it. You don't need it for that. What do you need the money for? Well, I'll tell you, because every single year, we have to pay tens of millions of dollars to the people that we raped and molested. We raped and molested a lot of people, and we have to pay out all that money, and everyone's got their damn hand out. No one's happy about it. And, oh my goodness. Every time somebody sniffles on a priest, we have to go to that priest. I'm sorry, Father O'Brien, but Hernandez boy ratted you out, so we're going to move you secretly under the cover of night to another parish again. Is there any place you'd like to go? I have always wanted to rape a boy in Pennsylvania. All right, Pennsylvania, just go to Pennsylvania, right? Remember, loose lips, okay? Don't tell the parish. And I would say to the church, okay, but what if, I'm just crunching the numbers here, but what if you stopped raping your children? Say stop, no, you are the right stop right now. That's what we do. That's not pretty much. Yeah, that'd be the easy thing to do, right? Yeah, okay, no, I mean, come on, it's literally the first thing listed on the job application as a benefit. Yeah, one of the benefits is you get to fuck your flock. Go to fuckyourflock.com. Scan the QR code. of unwanted pregnancies, I know you all have had a very complicated history with abortion, and I'm sure you know what's happening in the States. We're going backwards to, one might say, a medieval frame of thought. And here's the thing, I live in New York City, very progressive, liberal bubble. It is, and I pay for the privilege. And it shares the values my wife and I have, and we want to raise our daughter in that environment. And as I said, I admit I live in a bubble, but I've toured all over the United States, and I'm going to stay in the bubble. Stay in that bubble. And the thing is, I grew up in Georgia. I'm from Georgia. All my family's still there. And I go back home 3-4 times a year, and I just forget, because we don't have to deal with any of that fucking nonsense in New York City, right? And I forget about the ferocity of the anti-abortion movement in some of these other states, especially southern states, and the billboards. I don't know if you have do you have the billboards, anti-abortion? No, that's great. Because, when you go home, I go home to Atlanta, you don't see so many in Atlanta, but then as soon as you get outside in the city, it gets more country, just constantly the billboards. And they're a variation of the same exact billboards. They're all the same, right? On one side, you got a photo of an adorable baby, like a 6-month-old baby, just adorable, right? And all 6-month-old babies are adorable, except for the ones born with a weird thing. But they're not going to put one of those on the. It messes up their all life is precious idea. Going up for a visceral, emotional heartstring. No, get that fucking monstrosity off there. What are you doing? I'm trying to make some money. Put an adorable baby up there. And while you're at it, could you do Photoshop, extend her lashes a little bit? Maybe plump up her lips for me, for later? Yeah, so there's a photo of an adorable baby, and it always says the same thing on the inside. It'll say, choose life, you fucking whore. All life is precious. And what I think the pro-choice movement should do is by the very next billboard after that one. Right? So you see that adorable baby, choose life, all life is precious. But then, just seconds later, you see another one. And it says the same thing. It says, choose life, all life is precious, same size, same font, same color. But then, instead of a photo of an adorable baby, it's a photo of a 32-year-old dude in his basement apartment. Just fucking jerking off to anime, right? Going hard, jerking, just, fucking Rule 34, and big old pile of empty Monster Energy drinks, and gas mask bomb on the table, and just splayed open, filthy mustard and cum-stained robe, hunched over his computer going, is there a Bitcoin just for fascists? All life. All life is precious, isn't it? Wait, do you think all life is precious? It's not. Take a look around you. It is not. I'm going to tell that to my daughter, too. I'm going to instill the truth in her. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be like, hey, kiddo, has anybody tried to tell you that all life is precious and God and the Bible? They have. Okay, well, let me say, this is your dad talking. That is a load of horseshit. Just in the 2.5 blocks we walked to school, we passed by a lot of unprecious life. Nothing precious about it. I don't wish them any ill will, but come on, they're not precious. Words matter, honey. They fucking matter, is what I'm saying. And also, did you see that boy up there? Copernicus? Yeah. I want you to stop hanging out. He's okay. His dad's been a douche. It's crazy because much like here in the States, women are going to die because of this archaic, ridiculous rule, like banning. You can't. It's not going to prevent. Women aren't going to stop getting abortions. The only way we're going to make any progress, I think, the way anybody makes progress, is when the people oppressing other people have a personal experience, right? It's not just this abstract idea anymore. They know somebody. They're related to somebody, you know? And you know, personally, I have been a part of 2 abortions, and I did the best I could. I didn't know exactly what I was doing, but set up and like, all right, let's get to this. Okay, all right, now just okay. You're gonna have to stop crying. I can't. Listen to the thing. Please stop screaming, please. I can't hear. Okay, well I'm gonna have to rewind the thing. Well, now the screen's all slippery. Here's the thing. All right, I need the cops to shut up. Perfect time to get another beer. Can I get another beer, please? I paid a lot of money to get the best beer opener in Dublin. Like the person. Well, suddenly this is not an opportune time to get a beer. I'll leave it here. You can hand it to me. All right. I'm gonna ride there, but I had a nice flow going, and ladies, you know what I'm talking about. What a terrible joke. I will never do that again. Never. It just occurred to me, I will never do it again. Let's talk some more about abortion, man. This is great. So here's the thing that applies to every man in here, every man out there, every man in America, every man in the clergy, every politician, every school board member, every judge, every man across the world knows dozens, with an S, plural, dozens of women who've had abortion. Every single man. And the reason I say that with such confidence is because a miscarriage is an abortion. It is. It's spontaneous abortion, scientific fact, and a discussion. Which means the biggest abortion provider in the world is God. God is responsible for more abortions than every Planned Parenthood clinic combined since they started. God is, I don't think the anti-abortion movement would be furious with God, right? They'd be like, pick an A, go down with God, but also up with God. Love you, but also down on this thing. I don't down it, but also up, but then down it. No, I'm so confused. Science, you've done it again. And I would think God would be a little ticked off at the anti-abortion movement. The government cannot dictate to a woman what you can and cannot do with her own body. It's called autonomy. You can't do that, okay? It's not. And also, how many more hurricanes and wildfires and COVID do I need to send y'all before you get the message? Stop having kids. No more people. You're burning your house down. You can't sustain it. Stop it. Listen. Every time you force a woman to give birth when she doesn't want to, against her will, then 10,000 more miscarriages. Or maybe God just really loves, really loves, teeny weeny little zygotes, those little fetus beings. I love them. Bring them up here. I want more. Thousands of them. Come on, bring those little guys up here. I love them. Come on. I love them. That's his caviar. Little sour Now, here's the thing. I don't believe in God, so I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. Well, I do believe in God, and it's not true. And speaking of unwanted pregnancies, I've learned so much from my daughter. One of the things that I learned is, let me know if this gets too reflective. I usually wear the hat because there's a bunch of lights and it helps cut down the glare, but there are only a couple lights up there. So I'm going to take it off, but also, if you let me, if I start, I don't want to hurt anybody. So yeah, I learned that you have to constantly, when you have a kid, edit yourself and edit your responses, because quite often kids will say some really funny shit, some gems, just really funny stuff, but you can't laugh at them because they didn't intend for it to be funny. So when you laugh, you are upsetting them. It's confusing, it's upsetting, and they think they have a legitimate question or a statement, and now they're being laughed at by an adult. And so you really have to suppress that. And a good example of this was 100% true. When my daughter was 4.5 years old, my wife was out of town, and we were having breakfast, and there was a little lull in the conversation, and then after a minute, I'm doing dishes, and she said, apropos of nothing, we had not been talking about anything like this at all, and she just comes out with, Daddy, I'm sad you're going to die soon. And, my immediate response was, oh my God, she's a witch. And I sat down next to her at the table, and I very quickly bound her hands and legs and threw her in the sack. I got fucked with a witch. And I love my daughter so much. I love her in a way that I did not think that I was capable of loving another person or thing with the level of depth that I feel for her. And I really used to think I had a mild form of autism when it came to love. And I'm being serious. I've never made that connection that you see in the movies and the poems and the music about that love. I just never, like The Notebook? Are you kidding? I've never felt flippy out of the rain. No, and Wuthering Heights, I haven't read it, but I assume there's some love shit in there, but I never felt that. And I have an awesome dog, and I would take a bullet for that kid, right? Instinctively, I would take a bullet for that kid. I would not take a bullet for my wife. Absolutely. Fuck that. No. It's your bullet, he said. No, me downstairs. I'll play video games. I would, though. I would take a bullet for my dog. Now here's the thing. How many of you here would take a bullet for your partner? Oh my God, that was awesome. I had so many different responses. The fact that there was silence. And then just tepid. That's everything. Because you're fucking lying. I'm sure there were a couple of these moments like, how many of y'all would take a bullet for your partner and just again, woo! I love my daughter so much, but I also, and I'm being 100% sincere when I say this, I also resent her. I do, because she's rich. She's a fucking rich kid. And I know I don't like rich people. And I know it's left over. It's a prejudice I have that I need to work on. It's left over from, I grew up very, very poor, and I didn't like rich people, I didn't get it. And to me, a rich person was like middle class, you know, like, and she is not middle class. And fucking, I don't know, I just hate, you know, and I'm rich. I'm rich. You know, I'm not rich, I pay my taxes, but you know what I'm saying. She's comfortable, and when she's fucking whining about shit, you know, like, stop whining. Would you stop whining, please? You're rich. Stop it. You have central air. Do you understand? Like, are you hot? Push that button. You'll cool off immediately. Oh, push that button. You'll heat up, right? You have a teepee in your playroom that's not your bedroom. Okay? Can you see how fucking rich you are? You're sitting there eating an organic banana that your mother made me go to 3 places in the rain to get. Like it matters. It's the biggest scam in the world, organic banana. Come on, you put an organic sticker on anything. Nobody does your due diligence. It's bullshit. Biggest fucking scam ever. Alright? And also, are you going to eat the peel? Then who gives a shit? Alright? Okay, let me get this straight. Okay, so our water is contaminated, our air is polluted, and our homes are slowly trying to kill us. But yeah, an organic banana, that'll set everything right. Good. Okay. Yeah, I didn't have anything organic until I was 40, and that was by accident, and I'm fine. Okay? Do you understand what I do for you? Listen to me. Right now, I'm in fucking Dublin, Ireland, at a quarter-filled theater. Now, listen to me. Stop your whining. Listen to me, young lady. Young lady, listen to me. Listen to me. Until you drive your 1982 Chevy Malibu with a broken side mirror an hour and a half through a snowstorm in western Massachusetts to do a set for a bunch of disinterested, drunk, anti-Semitic, racist, Christian, white patriots for $40 in a cold egg roll, then you can complain to me about how your purse doesn't have as many sparkles matte. Also, that purse was made by prison labor. That's right. An innocent man who was framed by a bunch of crooked, dirty cops. Oh, he's an indigent black man. Nobody will ever notice. This way I can get more arrests and get my free pair of Beats headphones at the end of the month. Yeah, these crooked cops planted evidence on him, planted drugs, right? And then when they got caught, you know what the rest of the department did? They covered up for them, right? The entire department, crooked from top to bottom. Then, these crooked, dirty, corrupt cops perjured themselves on the witness stand and in cahoots with a crooked prosecutor and a crooked judge, knowingly sent an innocent man to jail, ruining generations of lives. And he's not going to get to see his kids graduate. He made your person. Another thing I've noticed since I had a kid is news affects me more in a different way than it ever did before. Like, before I had a kid, I'd get up in the morning and I'd make a cup of tea, get on the internet, it'd be the Yahoo front page news thing, it'd be a big story, you know, a woman in Florida murdered her 3-year-old daughter. And I'd see that and be like, oh man, that is fucked up. How'd the Braves do? And now that I have a kid, those stories really resonate, and I can't shake them. And they're very disturbing, and they're very upsetting, depressing, you know? Get up and get downstairs. A man in Florida murdered his 5-year-old son. Jesus. Next morning. A woman in Florida murdered her 4-year-old daughter. Next morning. A couple in Florida murdered their twin children, you know, and it's like, you murdered a 3-year-old? What the fuck is wrong with you? You don't have to murder a 3-year-old. They're 3. There's a million ways they can die. Just leave them at the top of the stairs and go do laundry, alright? What are you fucking thinking? You don't have to scream and yell when they run into traffic. How do you stop? You know? Hey kiddo, here's 5 inches of water. I'm gonna go make some fish sticks. Oh no! I'm free! You know? And now you're going to go to jail for the rest of your life, and it's really depressing. It's pathetic. Also, you live in Florida. Avail yourselves of the services there. Okay? I mean, come on, just be patient. There's like a 33.6% chance they'll be shot in school by the time they're in 5th grade. Are they black or brown? The cops will murder them for you. Man, I don't know what the fuck is going on in Florida. It is bizarre. It is crazy. And it's just a great example of what happens when these type of people get their way. And it's all political. And their kids are just suffering. They're banning books. Don't say gay, you know? I think it's really fucked up that they're going to have to change the end of the Flintstones theme song just because of All right, that's enough time. It's crazy. All right, so this was just for like a month ago, a month and a half. I have to read you this. So this is true. If you want to see the outcome of Ron DeSantis' Stop Woke Act, look no further than changes made to a first-grade social studies text about Rosa Parks. Okay? Y'all know who Rosa Parks is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's more than Americans. It's true. I mean, certainly, you know, it's a joke, but it's not a joke. Okay. So the old version, this is what they were teaching kids. The law said African Americans had to give up their seats on the bus if a white person wanted to sit down. That's pretty much what happened. You know, but apparently the school kids in Florida were committing suicide en masse. So they had to change it because they're precious. So it was changed to, she was told to move to a different seat because of the color of her skin. I mean, not specific, but that's also correct. No, it's too much for these kids. They're all moving to Mexico. When they heard this. So they had to change it to, and this is currently, in the state of Florida, what kids are learning about Rosa Parks. She was told to move to a different seat. She did not. She did what she believed was right. Rosa Parks experience. And you notice how they leave a little wiggle room in there for the homeschoolers? No, she did what she believed was right. Hey, it wasn't right. You know, sounds like somebody was getting too big for their britches. And it wouldn't move when, you know, her superiors, she should have listened to her superiors. My man came and told her to move, and then she got all uppity and wouldn't move, and, you know, now we got to deal with all these vape stores. The Martin Luther King Jr. story, as told to Florida school children. Martin Luther King Jr. told us all about a dream he had. But everyone knows it's boring when people tell you they're rude and insolent. Nevertheless, a kindly white gentleman by the name of James Earl Ray decided to gift Martin Luther King Jr. with some free bullets. He lived so far away. How could he thought, how can I get these bullets to him quickly? In 1932, Germany, a confused but well-meaning young man tried to come up with a solution to a problem everyone had. He tried everything. He tried the kill him with kindness solution. That didn't work. And finally, he was forced to use his final solution. And although there were very fine people on both sides, two wrongs don't make a right, Jews. It's just crazy. It's crazy what's going on. Here's the thing. As I said, I lived in New York City. I lived in a very, diverse neighborhood, ethnically, culturally, economically, and we're raising our daughter there purposefully, and she goes to a really great school, public school, American public school, not private school, whatever. And it's great. And she's in the minority at that school. She is in the minority. Don't freak out. I mean, she's got white friends. We can share that. But she's learning the truth. We don't sugarcoat shit. We don't, lie by omission. We tell her this. And she hasn't exploded yet, and it's just crazy because at some point, it's inevitable, she's going to have a conversation with another kid who was raised in Florida, or Georgia, or South Carolina, or North Carolina, or Kentucky, or West Virginia, or Tennessee, or Alabama, or Mississippi, or Louisiana, or Arkansas, or Texas, or Oklahoma, or did I say Missouri, Kansas, North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, Idaho, Arizona, Nebraska, Utah, and because they'll have two completely different frames of reference for what history is, what truth is, what happened. And it's going to be so weird, they'll be on the playground like, "Hi, I'm Marlo. I'm 6. Oh, I'm Eve. I'm 6 too. I'm from Florida. My mom's making fish sticks for dinner. Want to play on the monkey bars? Yeah." There's a better way to do this. This would make more sense. Is there anybody here who is willing to come up on stage and read something with me? Is there anybody? Woo! All right, sir, do it. All right. Well, we have stairs for the ladies.
Fridays are lazy days, boys.
See two lines of dialogue next to each other, we both read them at the same time. That's called dual dialogue. I'll start again. I mean, I think this will be better to do it this way. It makes more sense. And if you see two lines next to each other, that's called dual dialogue. And I'll just read this part. Where it says audience member. Here, okay, so Marlo's part. No, you read the part of audience member. Your audience member.
Hello, I have a name. Maybe you could call me by my name instead of just insulting the human as an audience member.
Look, okay, but I'm going to be reading this, all over Northern Europe. Anticipate every person's name.
I have a very common name. Shonda Baker Marilia.
What kind of name is that?
It's Roman for lighthead.
Roman, you mean Latin?
Nope.
Okay, well, you're the other kid, and let's just read the script, okay?
Yes, I'm pretty excited to tackle this truly important work.
Are you being sarcastic?
Yes.
I like it. Deliver the line the way it was meant to be delivered.
I'm really excited to tackle this important work.
Wow.
Are you being sarcastic?
How can you do that?
Look, can we just do the script where your kid talks to the homeschool kid from Florida or wherever? I need to take my insulin shot pretty soon.
I'm so sorry, I didn't know you had diabetes.
I don't, I just really love glucose. I can't get enough of it.
Is that supposed to be a joke?
I know, right? Do you think I could overeat?
Would you do that joke?
I would only do that joke twice.
Would only do that joke twice. Why twice?
Once in Mandarin. Look, are we going to do this thing or not?
Yeah, sure, but I want to hear you do that joke in Mandarin. You just said you would do it in Mandarin. You just said, I would only do that joke twice. And I said, twice? And you said, yes, once in Mandarin. That was you. You just said that. We all heard it.
What was that? And he said, he actually does it.
No, that is not what I said. That's fucking Cantonese, too.
I'm Eve, I'm 6'2". Want to play with me on monkey bars?
Yeah.
Okay, first we have to pray the Pledge of Allegiance first.
What's that?
The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, except for New York and California. And to the Republicans for which it stands, one nation under the police. Are you going to do it?
I don't know what that is.
It's an official saying of America. I do it at school.
Oh, what school do you go to? I go to Ridgewood Primary.
You call your living room Ridgewood Primary?
That's my school. Miss Clayton is my teacher. She also plays piano.
Oh, my school is at home, and my mommy teaches me.
Oh, your mommy is a teacher?
Well, now she is, because the old school was teaching us lies.
Oh, I know what a lie is. Like 2 + 2 is 5 or something like that.
2 + 2 is 5. No, a lie like saying that people didn't want to be slaves or that Jews had made up lies like that. The school tried to teach us civil rights.
What's civil rights?
Civil rights is a trick of the devil to get us to hate other people. You know that the Jews are the devil too, and gays. In fact, the Jewish Democrat devil invented rainbow flags to groom us into sodomy. They don't teach us that at school either, so that's why mommy teaches me now, to keep me safe.
Safe from what?
From the Hollywood pedophiles. Communist Jews or Muslims, or Mexicans or libtards, or angry lazy black mermaids who are all in to get me.
Can we play now?
I have to make sure you're not vaccinated first.
There's the boogies in there?
No, because Bernie Sanders and George Soros and the liberal woke fake. Sorry, I'm really not comfortable with this.
Just leave it.
Okay. Look, I thought you were going to do Tobias jokes, and that's what my mommy and I came down here. That's why we entered the contest. We weren't expecting a whole diatribe about the limitation and dangers of homeschooling.
Wait, what contest are you talking about?
Yes, at Nando's, they had a contest to win the free sachet peri sauce. But we lost and ended up with 2 tickets to this show. I thought you were David Help. Come on, mommy, let's get out of here. This sucks. Can't even finish a bit. Worst daddy in the world, my asshole. Only worst daddy in the whole country.
And that was the best delivery of the 2 + 2 is 5 Thank you very much. Alex, thank you. I have a question too. I meant to ask this last night, but I changed a couple things that I didn't think would, references in here that I didn't think people would get. I changed, like I made it Nando's and curry sauce, and I made some other thing, but I also changed the line that it is in the States of, oh, what school do you go to? I go to PS62. You call your living room PS62, and I changed it. Would you have known what PS62? Do you?
No.
So is Ridgewood Primary good?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good. I asked because you didn't laugh. All right. Okay, well listen, I gotta go, and y'all have been just amazing. It's been really fun, as it always is here in Dublin. And I'm so thankful it's a smaller crowd tonight. But I want to, before I go, I want to talk about something. So, I can't speak for other comics, but just for myself. When I go out, I start putting a set together, and I start the tour when it's ready to go. The show, as you can tell, I'm pretty extemporaneous, and I riff a lot and talk about shit that happened today or whatever. And the show evolves over those, 60, 70, 80 shows. It changes, and I don't want to do 2 hours, so I'm going to drop some stuff expands, and the show just evolves, and that's what happened on this tour as well. But in particular, on this show, a little kind of a theme has presented itself. It was not intentional, but I can see it, and I want to speak to that for just a second. And I don't know how much you follow what's going on in the States, but it's really, really bad, and it's just getting worse. I've been doing stand for close to 40 years, and I tour all over the place, and it's never been this bad. It's very divided. It's very willfully ignorant. It's very mean-spirited. There's an undercurrent of violence that's always there, and it's you can't just say it's polarized. I mean, it is fucking divided. And there are people who believe empirical facts and people who believe made up bullshit and nonsense. The level of anti-Semitism and racism and anti-Asian sentiment and anti-immigrant, it's just it's bad. I mean, it used to be when somebody ran for office in the States and they said, hey, if you vote for me, I'm going to help usher in a white nationalist Christian theocracy. No, thank you. But now, they're like, yes, please take an office next to the neo-Nazi we just elected. And here's the thing that's so different, though, is I don't ever recall the level of joy and giddiness that people have when they know that they're making other people suffer, right? And it's really disturbing. And what's happening in the trans community is fucking horrifying. And people like high five. If people commit suicide, they're high fiving each other, right? And look, America was never great, okay? But it was hopeful at times of what progress was being made. We were being kinder and more accepting of people, of everyone, tolerant and accepting of different lifestyles, and there was more love, and I think if America wants to get back to that time, then we need to build a time machine. You go back and kill the person responsible for the mess we're in now. And I will do it. I will do it. And I understand the canon of how this works, that once you use the time machine stops existing because now you've altered the space-time continuum and there's a tear in the fabric of the, but I'll do it. I will go back and I will kill Jesus Christ. I'll do it for you. I'll do it for the world. I'll do it for the governor. I'll do it for everyone else. And I'm not going to go to when he's like 30, because he was kind of cut at that as he's portrayed. He's got 12-man security detail. And I wouldn't go to, when he was first born, the day he was born, the Immaculate Conception. I think that's a bit unseemly to kill a one-day-old. So I wouldn't do that. I'd go somewhere in between. But we know nothing about Jesus. Nothing. We know nothing about Jesus from literally the day after he was born until he was about 30 and a half, right? We don't know anything about teenage Jesus, 14-year-old, sullen, mopey, covered in acne, hormones raging, emo Jesus. School's a prison. Just constantly jerking off. 14-year-old boys jerk off 7 times a day. Jesus was no different. And there was no lotion back then. There was no lotion. So 14-year-old Jesus' dick looked like an overcooked hot dog that had been left in the rain for a week and then discovered by a badger. Now we all know about the story of the Immaculate Conception, a beautiful, heartwarming story about how God so loved us that he took his seed and put it into the Virgin Mary, right, to give us his only begotten Son, right? God implanted his seed. Come, seed is come. God took his cum and put it inside the Virgin Mary. And here's the thing, he's everyone's God, right? He's everyone's God on the entire planet, so we have to think, which cum is he going to put in Mary? Because he had thousands and thousands of cums, so he was like, which cum should I use? Should it be Indo-Asian, or Aboriginal, or Nordic, or Cherokee, or Namibian, or... You know what? I'll go with Jew. Yeah, I'll go with Jew. That's kind of my best cum, anyway. God took his cum and he sent it down to planet Earth, right? From through different galaxies and solar systems, and God's way in the heavens. He's all the way in outer space. So I had to take his cum and send it, and I had to go through different and avoid planets and meteors and moons and space dust and asteroids, and it always had to maintain an internal temperature of 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit or 37 degrees Celsius. So either one. I don't know where you're from, but it always had to maintain that internal temperature, otherwise it would have degraded. So there's no atmosphere, so we had to speed up and slow it down. So it always heat up and then not heat up too much. All the way through the different galaxies and solar systems into the Milky Way galaxy, and then into our solar system, and then it had to go through all the different atmospheres around planet Earth, because God loves atmospheres. So he gave us a bunch, and the cum had to go through the toposphere and the exosphere, exosphere, mesosphere, exosphere, mesosphere, the other sphere, stratosphere, thermosphere. And the stratosphere into the troposphere, and then wait for the opportune time for Mary to go like this, and then... and then because Mary is a human woman, she went through the 9-month gestation period, and she started growing Jesus, the Son of God, in her belly, and then God sent the angel Gabriel to Joseph and Mary to tell them what the deal was, and then to say, listen, you need to go to Bethlehem. I know you're Nazareth, but you need to go to Bethlehem. Either to be counted for the census or to not be counted to for the census. It's a little vague. Historians aren't really sure exactly why, but it's very important to God to either be counted for the census or don't be counted for the census. And don't worry about it. It's called a writer's advice. Okay? And you get the better thing. So, and then Gabriel went back up the chimney, and Joseph put Mary on their donkey, Dingles. So Joseph, Mary, and Dingles the donkey went to Bethlehem. And we all know this part. They went to get a room at the inn. There was no room at the inn. The inn, singular. And he said, there's no room at the inn. You have to sleep in the manger. Now here's a question. 2,023 years ago, what was the difference between a room at the inn? There's a code difference. Act like it's an Airbnb where the Wi-Fi went out. No. You're still sleeping on hay next to a goat, okay? So when Joseph heard they had to sleep in majors, good, it's fucking fresh air. Good. And then got a pile of straw and some hay. Mary laid down. And then she started to go into labor. And he started timing her contractions. And she was going, it's coming soon. She said, I want it to happen. Mary started, and then she can feel it. There's a whole thing going on. She's going to give birth. She's about to give birth, and she's squatting down to give birth to the Son of God. And there's a whole commotion in there, but he's not coming out. He's not coming out. What's going on? And here's the thing they don't talk about in the story. They leave it out. But when God put his come to the Virgin Mary, he forgot to do something very, very, very integral to the process. He forgot to fuck Mary. So her hymen remained intact. So Jesus is getting ready to come out, but he's struggling, he can't. And there's this wall of flesh, and he's kicking and screaming, and it's clawing and stretching, and it's traumatizing. It's traumatizing to him. Ask any Scientologist what happens in there. It'll stay with you for billions of years. And he's fucking weak. It gave him a complex, right? Gave him a Messiah complex. So then Mary sussed out what was happening, and she said, okay, Joseph, hang on a second. I'm going to hop back on Dinkles and take him for a round for another couple laps. I'll go triple speed, see if we can knock this little guy out. And then she did, and she came back, and she squatted down, and here comes the Lord and Savior of all mankind through this massive hairy bush. And a Jewish woman in biblical times? Come on. And, there's placenta, there's a little bit of blood, and there's shit too. There's shit because that's part of the birthing process. When you give birth through the vaginal canal, you lose control of your sphincter and your bowels. And so here comes the Son of God, covered in shit. And placenta, they cleaned him off with a little hay and some goat urine. So no, I would go to Jesus when he was like 4, I think. And I'd wear appropriate clothing so as not to arouse suspicion. And I would bring something to distract the villagers. I go, hey, check this out. It's called a Furby. I want to take you down to the river, show you something that's pretty cool. Yeah, listen. So listen, kiddo. This is really important for me to say. It's very important for you to hear. Okay? You are a beautiful person. Okay? And everything you do is about love and kindness and acceptance, about diversity and equity and inclusion and charity and help. Okay? You're a good man. Good kid. This isn't about you, okay? It's about your fans, okay? And willfully, maliciously twist them for their own perverted sense of power. And they will, everything they do is completely antithetical to everything you live and preach your life. They will kill millions in your name and drive millions of others to suicide in your name.